Hey everybody, new kit. This is a long-awaited kit that has just been released. I got it just in time for Father's Day, so all of you fathers out there, happy Father's Day. I hope you got something you really enjoy, spend time with your kids, and that sort of thing. Figured we'd take a look at this new truck. This is the new Ruckus 4x4 that has just finally been released. I've been waiting for 6 months for this thing to come out so that I could get my hands on this thing. So I thought we'd do an unboxing today, because I just got this thing, I think yesterday actually, well Friday. It was on my doorstep when I came home from work. Let's take a look at the new Ruckus, a lot of air packaging, don't need that, Ruckus 4x4. Alright, advertisement. Box. Wow. All right, take a look at that box. Pretty good looking rig. Now this is all new from the ground up. Has several new components in this truck. So let's open it up and take a look at what they've put together. All right, first of all in the box, I'm seeing several key components. Metal diff, new electronic system. We got a new speed control here, new motor, 550 can, 12 turn. This is a brushed unit. Metal center drive shaft, new chassis design all the way through. Typical electronics we're used to seeing. This is a 7-cell battery, and then we've got a DX2E. So let's take a look at what we've got. This is a transmitter, pretty familiar stuff here. Spectrum DX2E, we're pretty used to those. We know that's a fairly decent radio. Still not crazy about the plastic wheel, but whatever, that's okay. In here we're gonna have our charger, pretty non-exciting stuff. I'm saving the best for last. Yep, this is that automatic charger. It's a peak detection, 2 amp preset wall unit. It's not AC, DC. AC only on that one. Still not a bad charger for a ready to run car. A lot of them out there come with a basic wall charger, so that's pretty nice. Let's set that aside. Get those out of the way. And get to the heart of the matter, the reason we're here. I tell you what, I'm kind of liking this new paint scheme. I know it's probably not for everybody. Take a look at that. I like that blue and kind of a lime green. Ooh, suspension feels good. Nice and soft. Pretty sweet truck. Well, I'm seeing the same body, so I'm thinking that a standard, you know, any of the Ruckus bodies are gonna fit each other. The body post positions are probably in the same spot, regardless of the truck you buy. Nice heavy duty bumpers. I just sent that body clip flying. No big deal. Let's take a look. Yeah. You know, like I said, I like that okay, but some of you probably wouldn't. I can see that's going to be a love it or hate it paint scheme. But you know what you can do? Flat black. Yeah, that's a popular thing. All right. Oil-filled coilover shocks. They look to be pretty much the same unit. I would say it's probably the same length of shocks as the rear shock from the 2-wheel drive truck on all 4 corners on this one. Adjustable body posts, not too bad. Nice flat pan chassis there. Good low center of gravity. Should improve the handling on this truck. And then with the big tires, we're still gonna have enough ground clearance that it can handle some rougher terrain. definitely a lower center of gravity than the Stampede 4x4 that we've got over in the corner. So pretty nice. You know what, let's do, just for fun, before we zoom in, one of the things that I really like about these Ruckus trucks is, in general, just the size of them. I think they're a pretty decent sized truck, and certainly bigger than the typical 10th scale monster truck. Not quite 8 scale, obviously, but a large 10th scale. Let me grab the Stampede 4x4 and let's compare the size of these two trucks. All right, I've got the Stampede 4x4 and the Ruckus 4x4. Obviously, I'm seeing that the Ruckus here sits a little bit lower. It's more hunkered down to the ground. Now, obviously, we've got some body adjustments. We can raise the body a little bit. I don't think I would do that. There is a little bit more suspension travel to it. I mean, we don't want it sitting all the way on top of the suspension, but it's definitely maybe sitting a little bit down. So I'm thinking some preload needs to be added to the shocks to kind of get it up there a little bit. But physically, you can see that the truck's just a little bit longer wheelbase. You know, width-wise, I think they're about identical. The tire size, the Ruckus has a little bit bigger tire on it, but it's physically a little bit longer, which is kind of nice. As I pointed out before, these Ruckus trucks, they tend to have the size of a body that you would find on a T-Max or a Savage. So changing the body set to something that would fit those trucks would not be too hard. And you know, there's a lot of bodies out there that are optional for those. So that's something to think about. All right, enough of that. Let's get down to this one. Let's zoom in and take a close look at the drivetrain. Okay, here we are close up on the chassis. I gotta say, everything on this thing seems to be very, very durable. I think that's been the trend with this brand, is its durability. They do seem to be very, very tough. I mean, everything seems to be very beefy. The suspension arms, the links, the suspension here. Again, non-adjustable suspension, but these links do seem to be very thick and reinforced. For plastic links, they're probably some of the toughest that I've seen. So they ought to hold up very, very well. Again, metal gears for the differentials, front and rear. Heavy duty spur gear on this unit. I believe it is a Mod 1. So, you know, very, very tough gears. I don't think we'll be stripping the spur gear too easily. Certainly not with the brush motor. Now this is a brush system. New speed control. This speed control has LiPo cutoff and reverse lockout capability. That speed control is very much, I mean, it's new for Dynamite, but I don't think it was manufactured by Dynamite. That looks an awful lot like the big unit, the brush speed control from Hobbywing. I bet that's who made that for Dynamite, and that's okay because, you know, Hobbywing makes some pretty good stuff, and a lot of these manufacturers jump on with that. Batteries over here. This is a big heavy unit right here. This is the, look at the size of that battery. I mean, it's not just a battery strap, it's a battery guard. I mean, the chances of damaging your battery in this truck are pretty minimal, I would think. See if we can get it out of there. So the battery pack they've included is the 2400 milliamp 7-cell flat. And again, we've got the EC3 plugs, pretty typical Horizon hobby products. Not a bad plug, just difficult to find replacement packs for. Easy to change to a Traxxas pack, or a Traxxas plug though. 12 turn, 12 turn? No, I believe this is a 15 turn, but it's a 550 can motor is what I believe on that one. So it's a lot like your Traxxas Titan motor. I think we're gonna have pretty similar performance with that. We've got an additional torque ring on there. It's probably going to move this truck around fairly well for a brushed unit. But with this spur gear and drivetrain, I see a lot of these getting brushless really quick. All right, let's take a look at the the drive shafts. Okay, take a look. Metal dog bones in this unit. If you're familiar with the two-wheel drive, you know they use the heavy-duty reinforced slider shafts like the Traxxas units. This is a dog bone assembly here, more like your 8th scale or a lot of the other 10th scale units, but it's a pretty thick bone. It's got big pins, looks like a pretty heavy-duty setup. In the front, let me flip this out. In the front, I am noticing we have a universal dog bone assembly, like a CV joint. Instead of just the regular dog bone in the rear, we've got a universal up front, so that we've got smoother steering and so on. So that's nice. I was thinking we'd probably have dog bones front and rear once I saw that. New steering bell crank assembly. No servo saver on the bell cranks. Yay! We've got a reinforced servo saver unit here on the servo, so that's going to make, you know, changing that to even heavier units or just an aluminum horn easy. Really about the only thing I can see that's the same is the body, painted different, and the wheels and tires. These are the Shootout MTs. Had good luck with these. They wear very, very well, and they have pretty decent grip out there in the rough terrain. Dirt, sand, a little bit of mud. I think if you got into serious mud, it'd probably pack up a little bit, but I have liked these tires. Good traction, good grip, and they seem to be holding up pretty well. Yeah, I've been running that brushless two-wheel drive now for a while, and I have not been the kindest person to that truck, and they've held up really well. So overall here, I'm thinking this is a pretty nice truck. I mean, I really do. All right, well that in a nutshell is the Ruckus 4x4. Now, this release is targeting straight at its primary competition, the Stampede 4x4. Specifically the brushed edition like I've got, because this is a brushed unit. Price for this rig as of its release is street priced at $239.99. Now for a 4-wheel drive, brushless ready, 10th scale, LiPo compatible monster truck, I mean, that's pretty good money for something that you can have a lot of fun with. I think this is going to work out pretty well. Is it better than the Stampede 4x4? Maybe, maybe not. I tell you, the only thing that I'm seeing that I don't particularly like is that battery strap. I'm not real crazy about that. It's nice that it protects that nickel metal battery, but those of us that want to run a LiPo, we're probably going to have to modify that. It was much easier to put a LiPo in the Stampede, going from looks anyway. I haven't tried yet, but I'm seeing some potential problem there. The other thing that may be a drawback, as I said, you might not like this Fruity Pebbles paint scheme. I personally think it's great. I think that's pretty cool. However, if you don't like that, it's not difficult to change. Get on eBay and find a Ruckus 2-wheel drive body. Maybe if somebody's got, they will fit, I'm certain, hopefully. Come on. There we go. Yeah. Voila. Problem solved. Yeah. So there you go. You can get on eBay, find you a different paint, a different body shell if you want to. I tell you what, I personally can't wait to put this thing through its paces, just to see what kind of stuff it's made of. It has a lot to live up to, Everybody loves the Stampede 4x4. So, you know, this truck's got an uphill battle for certain. But I think it might be equipped to be competitive. I think it's a good choice. Something for you to think about if you're in the market for the brushed Stampede or a 4-wheel drive 10th scale. Roughly $60 less, I believe. Maybe $50, depending on where you're getting the price for the Stampede. And that's pretty good savings. So I can't wait to go run it. I gotta switch it back. There we go. Yeah, I like that. I know you guys probably don't, but I like it. Well, that's all I've got for you this time. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.